And we're back on Ask the Experts. I'm your host, Kevin Ebling, where each week we have interviewing experts in the areas of legal, health, home improvement, financial. Sitting in with us for our second half today, we have Dane and Michelle Kilburn. They're going to be telling us a little bit about foundation repair. How are you guys? It's good to have you in.
Doing good.
Thanks.
Let's see. If I want to go ahead and tell everybody just a little bit of background about your company.
Well, we've been in business 25 years. We service the entire Metroplex. We do foundation repair, drainage systems. We also offer free estimates for homeowners. And I've been with the company about 10 years.
My dad owns the company. This is Michelle. We're with RS Foundations. I've kind of been in this industry my whole life, so.
And do you offer free estimates?
Yes, yeah. All our estimates are free. You can just give us a call at 469-583-3133 and schedule an estimate anytime.
All right, and for any of our listeners, if anyone has a question for Dane or Michelle, you can give us a call here at 877-787-1190. And talking about estimates, how long does the estimate process take, generally?
Generally about an hour. We come in the house and take measurements with an electronic level. It's basically an altimeter, and we measure the whole levels of the house, and from that we can devise a repair plan, but generally it takes about an hour.
All right. Now, my next question is a little bit general, but, I know you guys are the ones to ask. You are the experts. I mean, I don't know as much about this stuff, but our listeners, I think, would like to know, what are some general causes of foundation problems that people see from, day to day?
General causes, mostly it's the soil, the clay soils in North Texas. It's very expansive. The soil expands in the wintertime and shrinks up in the summertime because of the drought. A lot of times houses are built on a lot of fill, so you see houses that are just leveled out with fill, so over time that fill settles.
So what can our listeners do to prevent problems like that?
The big thing is watering. What you want to do is try to get water around the foundation if you can. A lot of these, cities have water restrictions right now, so that's real hard to do. But if you can water maybe, once or twice a week, you maybe check with the city and see what they allow for hand watering, things like that. If you have a lot of trees around the house, you can put in root barriers. But those are the big things, is the moisture content in the soil.
Okay, so the watering is good. The watering, doesn't cause anything to expand or cause any problems like that.
You don't want to overwater.
Right.
I do see a lot of homeowners where they start getting some cracks and things like that, and they just start throwing water at the problem. Too much water can wash away soil, cause it to erode. It's kind of a fine line. Generally, if you can, in the summer months between July and October when it's really the hottest, if you can get about 2 days of watering in a week, but again, you've got to check with the cities and see what kind of regulations they have for that. We're under a lot of drought restrictions right now.
It gets real hot here in the summers, and if there aren't any restrictions on a city level, you said what? Twice a week?
Yeah. What you would try to do is twice a week. If you're able to water twice a week, that should be sufficient. If you're only able to water once a week, then maybe try to do some soaker hoses or hand watering, things like that. Again, you don't want to overdo it. If you're running a soaker hose, you want to do maybe 20, 30 minutes of that. You don't want to just, make it slopping wet. Otherwise, you're going to have additional problems.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were wondering if you can use soaker hoses, and I think you pretty much just answered that soaker hoses will work. That's a good thing to use.
Oh, yeah. It's a very good alternative to just, doing the root barriers or things like that. If you can get moisture around the foundation, a few times a week, you're gonna keep it from drying up. Sometimes it's inevitable. You may have problems no matter what you do, but the things you can do to try to prevent it are the watering, the root barriers, and just, keeping an eye out for initial cracks and things like that, and try to get out ahead of it if you can.
So in a state like Texas where it gets real hot, certain times of the year, you're saying that foundation problems are more prevalent in these states like that.
Yeah. We have temperatures, in the summertime, average temps above the 90s, and we're on this clay soil. We're not on rock. You go a little bit farther west, and you get into Mexico, it's all rock. Out here, it's this clay soil. It shrinks up in the summertime, and then expands in the winter and the spring, and it's this constant movement. Eventually, it's going to settle. And like I was saying earlier about new construction, they're building houses everywhere. This ground is not flat to start with, so they have to bring in extra fill and level that house out to make it flat to build on. That leveling soil is the same soil we're sitting on, so then it just tends to settle over time, especially if you're built up on a big hill or something like that. Generally, there's one side of the house that may have a strong slope to it, and that would be the side to really watch. Make sure that it's not pulling down that slope.
So if you're living in a new house, would you have some time before you have to worry about watering and taking preventative measures for foundation, or is that something you pretty much want to start doing right away?
You really want to start right away. I mean, you don't want to wait until you have a problem. And there's houses that show signs 2 or 3 years in. Most builders have a manufacturer warranty, foundation warranty of 10 years. So, you want to, be looking out for it. But the big thing is to water. You've got a lot of trees in the front yard. You've got bushes. These houses have, new trees. All those trees need water. Right. So, there are parts of the landscape that are going to require more attention. Every bush, every tree, they are pulling moisture out of the soil. So, you want to start early. You want to get on a regular, scheduled maintenance plan early and not wait till you start showing the signs.
Well, and as the years go on, what signs can people look for to maybe that you're having some foundation problems?
The big thing are cracks. Cracks in sheetrock, cracks in the brick. Window frames will really start pulling apart. If you just want to walk your house, maybe at the end of the summer or twice a year. I mean, some people don't even get around to one side of their house. If you have a landscaper doing your mowing, you may never go on a certain part of your house and see anything. I walk around houses all the time, and I'm showing people cracks that are extremely obvious, but I don't even come over here. I'm never over here. So, it's important to walk the house at least, a couple times a year, do a visual inspection. You're looking for cracks in the mortar, the window frames pulling apart. Most of the houses have like fascia board. It's basically a wood trim that surrounds the top of the brick, and it's where your roof and your brick line meet. And if the house is shifting, that fascia board, that freeze board, will start to split, and that's a real tell indicator, that you're having some movement. So just doing a visual inspection and looking for those sort of things. And if you start noticing it, give us a call, and we can come out and take a look and give you a free assessment.
All right, and we have a couple more questions to get to before we take a break. But real quick, why don't you just go ahead and let everyone know one more time how they can find out more information on your business or contact you guys if they're having foundation problems.
You can call us at 469-583-3133 or visit us on the web at rsfoundations.com.
Okay. And what is the difference between a normal settlement and a foundation problem?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I get asked that every single day, it seems like. You try to put a number on what is settlement, and what the banks and the, inspection companies and, they come up with a guideline. That guideline is roughly 7/10 of an inch every 20 feet. So you're allowed, to settle a little bit in Texas before it becomes what they would consider a problem. But, I come across houses that are down a half inch and they've got big cracks. I mean, you have to put the numbers with the, visual clues. What I always tell people is if it's causing structural damage, then you're probably looking at a problem. If you're getting diagonal cracks in sheetrock, I mean, you get a lot of times where you get a straight line crack. You got 2 pieces of sheetrock, you get a little bit of movement, and that straight line crack will open up a little bit. I wouldn't say that's a problem. That'd be a concern and something to keep an eye on. But, if you start having structural damage, a sheetrock creating its own new crack, I mean, diagonal cracks in the sheetrock, cracks in the brick where you're seeing big mortar cracks, I mean, then that becomes a structural thing. And that's when you're looking at more of a problem than just normal settlement.
So if there is a problem, if there is something that needs to be repaired, how long does the repair process usually take, or is it just kind of different on a case by?
It's case by case, but normally, I mean, we can fix a house in 1 to 2 days. I mean, with the new piering types, you can get in and get done in most cases in 1 day. The process from start to finish, I mean, you got to do the estimate, and then that takes about an hour, and then of course, if you want to schedule the job, it may take a week or so to get to the job. It depends on the season. I mean, we get busier in the summertime because of it gets worse, but the repair takes about 1 to 2 days, and we usually arrive at a job site between 7 and 8 a.m., and we're done between 5 and 6.
Okay, and you mentioned in there different kinds of piers?
Yes.
I'm just wondering, what are the different kinds of piers?
Well, I mean, there's the most common type are the press piering system, and usually you can do steel or concrete. That's a concrete press pier or a steel press pier. Both are installed the same way. One's made of steel, one's made of concrete. That's the most common type. The difference is price. Steel piers are more expensive because steel is more expensive. The price of steel is going up daily. So, you can get the house repaired at a much better cost with a concrete press pier. And then there's also drilled piers. That's a pier type where you actually drill down to a predetermined depth, and then you pour in wet concrete and let that concrete cure. And then you come back about a week later and lift off that footing. That's called a drill pier. Most homeowners elect the press system because that can be installed in 1 to 2 days. And actually, those go to refusal. I mean, you drive those piers as far as you can, and you know you've hit something solid.
So other than price, how do you determine which system is best to use?
Well, you need to go out and take a look at the area. You need to look at the part of the Metroplex you're in. There's certain areas that do better, with certain piers. But if you contact one of the office and we get an estimator out there, he'll know which area and which pier to recommend. But with an older home, maybe an older concrete beam home and maybe it was built in the 50s or so, that concrete may not be sturdy enough for a press piling. So you may elect to do the drill pier where you're pushing. We're actually drilling down instead of pushing against the house to run the pier to the depth.
All right, well, we got to take one real quick break, and then we'll be right back with more information from Dane and Michelle. But real quick, would you like to give the phone number one more time and the website?
Certainly. It's 469-583-3133, and visit us on the web, rsfoundations.com.
Thank you, Michelle, and we'll be right back with you with lots more information to get to on Ask the Experts. We're in with Dane and Michelle. We will be right back.
Home foreclosure can be a nightmare. A couple of missed house payments, and before you know it, your house is being sold right from underneath you. You don't know where you or your family are going to live, or even where you are going to spend the night. If you don't think it can happen to you or anyone you know, think again. You don't have to face this alone. There is a new government-sponsored program that may help you keep your home. Nonprofit certified counselors from the National Foundation for Credit Counseling are available to work with you and can help you deal with your lender. And this service is completely free. The sooner you call, the better your options. Call 866-687-6322 or visit mortgagehelpnow.org. This nightmare does not have to happen to you. That number again, 866-687-6322. or visit mortgagehelpnow.org.
Hi, this is John Bon Jovi, asking you to go to serve.gov to get involved in something you believe in. I'm a big believer in the power of we. We can tackle the tough challenges we face and build community through service and volunteering. The reality is, we're all in this together. It's time for you to raise your hand and make a difference. United we stand, united we serve. Are you with me? Go to serve.gov for more information about how to volunteer in your community.
This message is brought to you by United We Serve and the Corporation for National and Community Service.
And we're back on Ask the Experts. We have Dane and Michelle in here today giving us some information on foundation repair. Real quick, guys, why don't you go ahead and give us some little background information one more time on your business. Tell us about it.
RS Foundations is a family-owned business. We've been in business almost 30 years now. My dad owns the company, and I've been in this business almost all my life now. So, and Dane has been with us almost 10 years now. The owner taught him everything, and he started out going to the job sites, and now he manages all the crew.
All right. Well, thank you, Michelle. And Dan, I'm going to get back. I had a question for you real quick. Before we went to break, we were talking about piers and different kinds of piers and how you determine which process or which system to use, rather. And I just wanted to ask, I know there's different kinds, but how are piers installed? Are they installed each the same way?
Yeah, well, the press piering system is installed
that's right.
the same.
Okay.
I mean, what you would do is you would dig roughly about a 3x3 hole and go down about 4 feet and get up underneath the perimeter beam of the house. When they build a house, they pour the perimeter beam it's about 22 inches thick. Within the house, there are beams that run through. You have to run the pier on that thick part of the foundation. So what you do is you get about 4 feet underneath there, and then you drive the pier to refusal. Depending on the area, it could be 8 feet, it could be 12 feet, it could be 16 feet. There's some areas in the Metroplex we go 20, 25 feet. What you do is you push that pier to a point of refusal. And once you hit that solid footing, then from there you're able to level the house. And, it should hold for the lifetime of the home. If you push the pier as far as it will go, it should hold. And that's what we do.
Okay. Do you offer a warranty on the work?
It's a lifetime warranty. Anything we drive a pier to refusal on, any press piering system, whether it's the steel or the concrete, there's a lifetime warranty on that repair.
And it is transferable.
Oh, excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. And if foundation problems, I was wondering, can they cause any problems to other areas of the home, such as plumbing, or can they bleed into other areas?
If you let it go too long, you're way more likely to have those issues. I mean, with foundation problems, it can lead to plumbing issues. I mean, when you're putting a lot of stress on the mechanical lines in the home, if your house is settling 1, 2, I mean, I see houses that are settling 4, 5, 6 inches. At some point, something's going to give. When you start showing signs in the sheetrock and the brick, then there's things underneath the foundation, inside the walls that you cannot see that are under that same amount of stress. So it is important to get in front of it. If you're noticing some things early on, I know no one wants to know. A lot of people just want to turn a blind eye to it and wait. But, I mean, if you're seeing structural damage on the outside or the sheetrock, then just imagine what's happening underneath the house or in the wall. So, if you get out early in front of it, you limit those chances. But, yeah, sometimes plumbing lines break, or, you could have gas lines break, things like that.
So there can be things that you don't even see that are causing a lot of damage under.
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, if you get out early and catch it before it gets down 3-4 inches, I mean, you're going to limit those chances.
Now, generally speaking, does homeowner insurance ever pay for foundation repair?
Yeah, another good question. It's very rare that insurance companies will pay for foundation repair. I mean, it's not something they want to pay for. Most of them don't even have it in their policy. There are some clauses that will say, if it's caused by this, they'll cover it. The big thing is plumbing. A lot of insurance companies will say, well, hey, if it's caused from a plumbing leak, then they'll cover it. But most of the time, the plumbing leak didn't cause the foundation problem. Right. It's the foundation problem causing the water leak. So, best thing to do is check your policy. But in most cases, it's very rare that the insurance companies pay for foundation repair.
I kind of expected that, but I figured,
most people do, but it's asked almost every day.
Well, and what you want to do is probably get an estimate and take that estimate to the homeowner's policy or file a claim before you do any work.
Okay.
Just to see if it what their options are.
So it's always good just to look into it.
If you fix it before you file a claim, they're probably not going to go back and do a retro claim for you.
So find out first and just make sure.
Yeah,
before you move forward with repairs.
Check with your agent and just ask them what they cover and read your policy and go from there. But again, it's rare that they cover it.
Well, what's the average cost of a repair, or is that just really
an
varies?
Average cost for us? I mean, for our company, and is between about $3,000 and $6,000. A lot of homeowners think, okay, it's going to be $10,000 out the gate. That's not the case. I mean, we do repairs for $2,000. It just depends on how bad it is. The longer you wait, the worse it's going to get. But yeah, an average repair is between $3,000 and $6,000. And if you wait longer, then yes, you may see some of those $10,000 and $20,000 repairs. We do those too, but for the most part, I think people are becoming more educated on foundation problems. They're not running away from it so much, and if you get out early, then you're going to be paying less money, because once a house starts to settle, it usually continues to roll in that direction. So if you find the area that's settling early on and you correct that issue early on, then you stabilize that home, and that keeps it from continuing to fall. Because once that weight shift occurs, a house starts settling, there's sort of a weight transfer that leans. I don't want to compare it to a sinking ship, but some people will, where it's like listing in that direction. Then you'll put a little bit more weight on that section. And of course, that will cause it to move a little bit more. So catching it early is a big thing.
Okay, and there's people who may even avoid dealing with it because they think it's going to be a $10,000 or $20,000 repair. Even though if you nip it in the bud, you maybe can avoid that.
That's the thing. I mean, I see it all the time where people just wait, and then finally they can't open their front door, or they can't open their garage, or then they do have a plumbing issue, and they someone says, well, you got to fix this before we fix the pipes, because you want to level the house first before you start repairing pipes. You don't want to fix pipes and then lift it. So yeah.
if I were selling my house, would foundation work or repairs in any way lower the value?
I get asked that a lot. I mean, that's something I'm asked a lot. People are scared to put foundation repair on the house because they think it's going to scare off a potential buyer. That's not the case. I mean, what's going to scare off a buyer is a house with foundation problems. I mean, these banks nowadays, they don't want to fund loans to a house that has, foundation problems. So if you are selling your house and there are signs of it, if you don't fix it, the appraiser is going to notice it, and there's going to be, a red flag on it. I mean, if you don't fix it, it's going to lower the value of the house. So fixing it's not going to lower it. Not fixing it is what's going to lower it.
And I wanted to say, speaking of red flags, I mean, I love how your companies like yours, you have a mission to provide your clients with affordable and reliable options. And I think a lot of people want to know if they are looking into, if they need repairs, what are some red flags to look for when companies leave their card, say, on your door or something like that?
Well, what you want to just do is the big thing is, how long have they been in business? Make sure they've been around a while, that they, that they're insured, that they have insurance.
Check the Better Business Bureau.
Yeah, the BBB. I mean,
Angie's List.
Got an A+ with them, and I mean, if anybody has a real complaint, that's probably where they're gonna go with it. So check the BBB, make sure they're insured, how long have they been in business, and that's just that you're dealing with a reliable company that's going to be there in 5-10 years. If there is another issue, if there is a warranty issue, that they're still going to be around.
Okay, and I know everyone. You can always take more measures, I feel like, to maintain your foundation. And what are just some other general tips? I know we talked about watering a little bit. You talked about soaker hoses, things like that. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff. I mean, a lot of houses, don't have gutters, and you'll see erosion. I mean, you may walk down the side of your house and you'll see, part of the foundation where you can only see about 4 inches of the foundation. And then you come down the house and towards the corner, and then the whole foundation's exposed, and you can see almost the underneath where, the pour was laid. You want to have about 4 inches of the foundation exposed. So you don't want to have it all dirt piled up to the brick line, because then you can get water in through the weep holes and things like that. But you want to make sure that if you have any area that is eroding, that you want to add soil. You don't want to put sand. Sand's not porous. It doesn't hold water. You want to fill dirt, soil, something that's going to hold some moisture. And you can just get bags of fill dirt from any of your hardware stores and load up on that. And if you have erosion because you don't have gutters, or just the lay of the ground, when the rain comes and it washes it down the hill, you want to make sure that you're making an effort to have the foundation not totally exposed with that erosion. Retaining walls are good. There are a lot of houses that do not have retaining walls that need them. The whole front of the house is falling down the hill almost. I hate to say it, but it's just the truth.
I think that's something a lot of people overlook.
Yeah, I mean, because you got to have something to hold that dirt in. I mean, we're talking about 10, 15, 20, 50 years these houses are on the ground, and the ground moves. I mean, erosion happens. Things move, and if you have dirt that's constantly washing down a hill, eventually that house is kind of going to move with it. So retaining walls, the soaker hose again is a big thing. A lot of homeowners put the soaker hose too close to the foundation. They lay it right up next to the foundation. You really don't want to do that. You don't want water spraying on the foundation and running up underneath it, because that can cause erosion as well. You want to keep a soaker hose about a foot from the foundation, and make sure that you're actually getting the soil around the house wet, not just the foundation itself, because just spraying water on the concrete isn't going to keep the soil expanded.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think these are a lot of things people have no idea about, and you should definitely know about in terms of maintaining their foundation.
And to that, there's certain plants that are planted up next to these brand new homes. Say a crepe myrtle tree. You don't want it 3 feet from your house. It's going to soak up all of the moisture underneath the foundation.
Yeah, it's important to plant trees, ideally 10 feet from the house. The crepe myrtles they're on every house. I mean, I've got one on my house too. But they look pretty. They bloom. They're pink and the white and the red. But if you put it right next to the foundation, and the trees, there's bushes, but the trees, those things need a lot of water. So if you have one on the corner and that thing is just soaking up a large amount of water every single day, then you're going to have extra dry soil right there. Big mature trees, I mean, some of them need 30, 40 gallons of water a day to live. So you just know the more trees you have, the more dry the soil is going to be. And it doesn't necessarily mean that just because you have trees, you're going to have foundation problems. Right. And that's another thing, is people always say, what can I do to prevent it? You really can't prevent it.
But the more trees you have, the more water is going in the ground.
Right. But you could have a whole landscape with trees and never water your house and still not have foundation problems. Or you can remove every tree on your property and water every single day and still have them. It's just, there's not really a sure way just to say, hey, let's not do it. But, the things that you can do to help maintain the yard are going to, try to limit the chances.
Now, you mentioned that the extreme heat that we get down here sometimes can cause more cracking in the foundation. Can the heat cause homes to shift, the foundation on homes to shift?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you've got, direct sunlight, you've got the hot weather. We go sometimes 30 days without rain. All those things play a part. I mean, the hotter it is, the drier it is, the less rain we get, which we're describing every summer in Texas. I mean, that's every July, every August. It's the same thing. It's going to shrink up. I mean, you can walk out sometimes and see cracks in the ground where the soil has separated. I mean, you can just see cracks all through the soil. That's because of the drought. And if you aren't watering and you're not doing anything to prevent it, then you're really taking a chance.
Well, I want to say thanks for you guys for coming in today and for all the great information. And one more time, why don't you let everybody know how they can reach you?
Yes, thank you. You can reach us at 469-583-3133 or on the web, rsfoundations.com.
All right, well, that's all the time that we have for this week, but I want to say thank you again, Dana and Michelle, for coming in. It has been a pleasure.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And we will be back next week at 10 a.m. on Ask the Experts.